Alexander Volkanovski coming in at minus 360 against Yair Rodriguez, who's sitting at plus 360, over under 4.5 rounds, minus 115 for the over, plus 115 for the under. Odds are brought to you by BetOpenly, as always. There's no house, so you're getting 1% juice. That's why you see the odds that look like that. But Alexander Volkanovski coming off his first loss in a very, very long time, obviously up at lightweight. He's never lost at featherweight, and he's been the king of the featherweight division for quite some time now. And I don't know if anyone can break him down, but if there's one guy that could present him a lot of challenges, it could be Yair Rodriguez because he is so unorthodox. But who you leaning with in this one?
Yeah, super hard to pick against Volkanovski. I mean, think of it. The dude has lost 2 fights in his whole entire career. And, one was at lightweight to Islam Makhachev, who so far outside of Volk, he got knocked out in his debut. But from then, he's just ran through everybody. And, you barely lose to him. I mean, I just can't see a world where he loses back-to-back fights, as great as he is. Like the skill set he possesses. I mean, the defensive striking, offensively, he's great. I mean, the dude can wrestle. He was swimming with Islam in there for the whole fight. Like anytime Islam would go to the grappling, Volk showed that he can hang. So against Yair, I mean, obviously everybody knows Yair is going to come in with the flashy kicks, the striking, that elbow he knocked out Korean Zombie with at the buzzer, just insane. Like his striking, it just makes you tune in just to watch that alone. But can he catch Volk, man? I don't know. I don't know. You would think that there's a slither of hope just because of how unorthodox he is. It has to be impossible to prepare for a striker like that. I mean, his kicks come from different angles. He's in and out with the striking. He's fast. Pretty tough, too. I mean, going with Max Holloway like that and look at his face after the fight. Like, he was able to take some massive shots and, a ton of shots in that one and make it. But, man, I just keep going back to watching Volkanovski with these dudes at 145, and it seems like there's nobody that can match him. And I would think he gets the win. However, these big pay-per-view cards like this, we've seen time and time again. I keep thinking back to Leon Edwards and Usman. Usman was this guy who's only lost 1 or 2 times in his whole entire career, 16, 15 fight win streak, and was dominating the fight, and it just took 1 head kick. So there's always those scenarios. It's always fun to think about. I think Volkanovski keeps the title here. But, man, I'm going to be rooting for Yair, and we're going to be there live. You got to be holding the Yair ticket live if you're there, in my opinion. So give me Volk for the prediction and the pick, but yeah, we're gonna see what these lines do as the week goes on.
Yeah, if you've watched Volkanovski over the last few years, it's like you can't really look at how he fights and be like, yeah, Yair's gonna beat him, because he's just been so dominant, especially at featherweight. But he has been caught in submissions like Ortega put him in, but he got out of it. So it's like, even if you have him dead to rights, like, is he really dead to rights? Probably not.
Right.
Fight out of it. But there are some submissions you just can't fight out of. So if Yair can get him in those spots, like there's the thing is, like, there's no quit in Volkanovski. So it's like, it's not like if the fight's not going his way, Yair can just take over. Like there's no quit in him. And that's the hard part about betting against him. Because like you could look at a champion, like a dominant champion, like an Amanda Nunes, to where she could be broken. Like she's not always, like, we've seen her in rough spots to where you could look at her and be like, okay, she can have like signs of weakness, and there's no sign of weakness with Volkanovski. So that's like the tough part about betting against him, even if you want to take a big dog shot on Yair Rodriguez. But the matchup is tough because he uses a lot of those kicks, very awkward. And even inside, he can use those elbows kind of as like a shorter arm, even though they have the same reach. Volkanovski is one of the best at getting in on those entries. But I just don't think he's faced someone like a Yair Rodriguez. But at the same time, it's like, I can't really just straight up pick against him. Like, I'm not going to do that. And coming off a loss, maybe he has some kind of fire. But things to take into account for Volkanovski, 34 years old. We know the smaller guys aren't always like the freshest once they get a little bit older. And 34 years old, coming down from lightweight, because he didn't have to put on that many like pounds, but he's still coming down, and he's a pretty big dude for 145, pretty thick. So we'll see how the weight cut goes, see how he looks. I would assume he's in good shape. He's always in good shape. He always fights a lot. When I look at this one, like if you're gonna like parlay Volkanovski, how much value are you really getting? Maybe you look at like I would probably take him by decision. I don't know that he's gonna finish Yair Rodriguez. I'm pretty sure that's probably gonna be the highest probability is like what his exact method is by decision. So maybe you could get the price down a little bit there, but we're gonna be there in attendance. So I want to see some history, and I'm going to be pulling for some history. So I'm going to probably be pulling for an upset, but I love Volkanovski so much, just what he brings to the table. So I'm going to take him for the pick. And I mean, you're not getting like a bad dog here by any
No,
way. Like you're getting a guy like he could knock him out, he could submit him, and it'd be tough to win by decision. But if he's really on his game, like he can put up a good fight. Put up a good fight against Max Holloway, who is a similar style to Volkanovski. Not as big or Volkanovski's not as big as Max Holloway, but at the same time, pretty similar style. So yeah, I'll go with Volk for the pick, but gotta watch out for Yair.
yeah, and here's the thing that worries me with Yair is like if he wants to win, I really feel it's got to be in the first couple of rounds if he's going to do it by knockout. And if it goes to decision and he wins the decision, he's got to win round 1 and 2. He's got to win the first 2 off the bat because Volk is the best at going in there with a guy, maybe a style he's never seen. And as the fight goes on, he gets stronger and he starts to figure out the striking patterns and everything of his opponent. And, if Yair, I guess if Volk figures Yair out after the second round and Yair doesn't have that snap and quickness anymore, I just feel like Volk's just going to take over this fight like he's done in the past when he beats these dudes by decision convincingly. So, yeah, if you're Yair, man, you got to get it done early and you got to steal those first 2 rounds to at least make it interesting.
Yeah, I would also somewhat question the cardio of Yair just based on recent fights. I mean, he did finish Chance on Jung Korean Zombie in the 5th round, but the way he fights, like the athleticism, how much explosive movements he uses, there's no way you can keep that up for a full 5 rounds. And like you said, Volkanovski just gets better as the fight goes on. So, and the win against Josh Emmett doesn't age the best.
Right.
So, I mean, there's that to take into account. But yeah, Volkanovski for the pick. But kind of want to see some history there. So